What's up, guys? It's your boy TB here. Welcome to another. I don't know if I call it an episode. Anyways, welcome, my people. Um, main thing I wanted to talk about today was a lot to do with just Georgia's second scrimmage. Just everything that I've heard so far. Whether it's been from the media that's been there, whether it's been from former coaches, who have been there. We'll go ahead. We'll get started right away. First thing I'll say. What I appreciate is if you guys haven't yet, I would go check out. Um, it's not Dog Nation. I want to say it's Dogs on Top, something of the sort. But Jim Donnan, a former coach from University of Georgia, actually is on the show. He's on a YouTube show, and getting to listen to him. Uh, of course, he has a lot of insight because he's a coach. We definitely appreciate that. I love that as a Georgia fan. But one thing I love listening to is him talk about certain players and then hearing it from media perspective from people who have never been a coach or people who never really played football. They're just fans. Um, I enjoy listening to in-depth conversation about it. And so we'll start out with quarterbacks. First thing that was said about the quarterbacks was, of course, Stetson is the main guy. Stetson looked good, and which is good. I'm super happy for Georgia. I know Stetson is the man. He's been the man for the last 27 years at Georgia. I get it. But from everything I've heard, Carson Beck and Vandergriff are starting to look really good. I get Beck took a while to kind of come into his own, but I do think a lot of that is at Georgia we don't develop quarterbacks rapidly. Uh, and so Beck being able to come into his own, and I think getting the addition of Todd Munkin helps to improve the development of the quarterbacks. So I think that's the exciting part for me is being able to see at least quarterbacks are starting to develop. That's good. The main thing that was said is if anything happens to Stetson Bennett, Georgia's not in trouble by any means. Apparently, they're doing their thing that, and that's good. That's good to hear as a Georgia fan. Want to be able to know that we're in good hands. Second, the running backs. Everything that I've heard on the running backs so far has been the running backs are tearing it up. Kenny McIntosh had a 65-yard run this past scrimmage. Not the second one, but in the first one. Second scrimmage, they kind of held him out a little bit just because starting guy, you try not to get him too much before. What's up, Dominic? um, what's up, big dog? But like I said, it was good to see that. Okay, in the first scrimmage, we had a few guys kind of stand out. Oscar Delp is getting Oscar Delp is getting a lot of hype. A lot of that. What's up, Big Two? No, it definitely has been a while, Dominic. Hope you've been well, bro. But a lot of the hype going towards the tight ends is good, but Darnell is still recovering from his foot injury, which leaves a lot of reps because Brock Bowers had his surgery over the summer. And, him and Darnell getting to sit out is giving Eric Gilbert, or Oscar Dell, and is it Rylan Geode? I think, yeah. Dude, those guys are getting reps. And we all know what that's like. John Fitzpatrick for us was not a pass catcher. He wasn't at all. Dude literally got drafted in the third or fourth round and is playing in the NFL right now. Like we had who was the we had a tight end from Florida State, if you guys remember his name. Um oh my goodness. Well, how can I think of it? Anyways, dude came from Florida State a while back, 2, 3 years ago. Dude's in the NFL playing. Like to be an NFL tight end, you do not have to go out and have 45 touchdowns. You just have to be able to block. And that's what Georgia does very well. So now giving Delp, who's a true freshman, and Eric Gilbert, Trey McKitty, that's what it was. I wanted to say something Kitty, but yes, having Oscar Delp, who's a true freshman, and then you have Eric Gilbert, who's able to get his reps. He's working on getting his weight down. Apparently, he's down to about 240 right now. His goal weight is 225. He was 250 in the spring game. And I'm not saying get him down to 225 so he can play wide receiver. I'm saying him at his goal weight gives us four tight ends who are stupid. I mean, stupidly just very, very good in open field. And for at Georgia, we don't have a lot of great receivers. We might have good experienced receivers and good pass catchers, whatever you want to call them, possession receivers. We don't have go get it. We had George Pickens and we underutilized him. Not saying it when he came back from injury, but even before then. Uh, so we're going to look to the tight ends to be able to help out. Now, I think we all know that Georgia without receivers, it, how do I say this nicely? We won a national championship without great receivers. AD Mitchell made a great catch. That's awesome. AD Mitchell was not a top 10 receiver in the SEC going into that game. It wasn't. George Pickens had played in what, 2, 3 games the entire year. Like, we won a national championship without it. Now, granted, that was having a great defense. So now can we counterbalance that? Anyways, moving on. Next in the scrimmage, what we've heard, the linebacker core for Georgia is very young, very inexperienced, but is really good. A lot of the media was talking about how these guys have reps under their belt, game reps from last year and the year before. Might not have started, but 5%, you know, of the reps of over a season is not a terrible thing. But when you get 5% your first year and then your second year, you get about 5 to 10. Now you get to start. You at least have been in a bunch of big games, whether that's 2, 3 minutes at the end of this game, 8 minutes at the end of this game because you're blowing somebody out. But they say that Xavier Sorey, Dumas Johnson, who is Pop Johnson, who is it? Small Munden, Mikael Sherman. Like they say, these guys are really, really good. We have linebackers that can cover. We have linebackers that can stop the run. And I think right now, that just from like the media and listening to Jim Donnan talk about um, the linebackers and what they see from Kirby, Kirby is trying to really push who is going to be able to do both for me. Xavier Sorey is the best cover linebacker on the team. Mikael Sherman is the highest rated linebacker Georgia's ever signed in the history of Georgia. So the guys that we have good athletes. Pop Johnson apparently is like making not just cover plays or he's just everything he's doing apparently is good. He's going to be a starter. He's the one that was looked at for the Butt Kiss Award. He's a Butt Kiss Award watch. So I love that because I know linebacker at Georgia is really good. A lot of the NFL scouts say that what Kirby does really well for his linebackers, his defensive linemen know. Yeah, Pop Johnson is Dumas. It's like Jason or Jamon Dumas Johnson. That's his name. And it's crazy. Uh, him and Brock Bowers did not get to play their senior year of high school. But like Brock came in, we know how his true freshman year went. Well, they said when Pop came in, he was a little overweight, a little out of shape because he hadn't played in almost a year and a half. So when he got to Georgia, he was able to redshirt his whole first year and fully focus on just getting back in shape and being a really good scout team player, which at Georgia, you're going against some of the best players in the nation. So, it helped him out for sure. But good to hear. Just good to know. And then you got to think we have Tresman Marshall, who's going into his, I think, redshirt junior or redshirt senior year, which is crazy. 4 or 5 years there. We saw what Channing Tindall did with that, being a 4 or 5 year player. He got his start and he tore it up. I mean, like I said, dude got drafted to, what was it, the Green Bay Packers? No, he got drafted to, I think, the Dolphins or the Titans. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But it's like our linebacker core is all over the NFL right now. And so just super excited about that. Cornerbacks, Nylon, Morset, Dalen Everett, Julian Humphrey. Those are the three guys right now that I keep hearing their names. All right. Dalen Everett, Julian Humphrey are true freshman cornerbacks. 5 stars coming in. We had 4 5 stars come in this year at cornerback alone. But those two, they're trying to figure out who's going to start opposite side of Keely Ringo. And I'm super excited about that because for me, I know Kirby thrives in the cornerback game. Will Muschamp, apparently, that's his specialty is cornerbacks, which is amazing because we know Kirby's specialty is linebackers. So just really good to know that at all phases, you got Trey Scott at the defensive line coach. Well, Trey Scott sent 3 guys in the first round last year. That's why he got him a $300,000 raise. Yeah, you got Kirby at linebacker core, and then you've got Muschamp at cornerbacks. Like, really good to know that all 3 levels are being taken care of. But I'm super, super curious to see who's going to start on the opposite side of Keeley. They're saying whoever starts the other, which like if let's say Nylan Morset gets it, if he gets the start, that means Dalen Everett and Julian Humphrey will then be put in different packages whenever we need extra DBs, which is really good. You got William Poole, who's an inside cornerback, um, but it also lets you know they're talking about putting Julian Humphrey at safety, at free safety. And it's not because he's a hard hitter. I'm sure he can tackle, but it's to have another cover guy out there. And dude's like 6'1". So to have a guy that can move like that, that's 6'1", you got Keely Ringo, who's 6'2", 205 on the outside. You have a lot of height, a lot of length. So super, super excited to hear that. Offensive line, Tate Ratledge is close to being back to 100%. He's at right guard if he comes back fully healthy. At left tackle, apparently Broderick Jones is going to be at left tackle. Dude's an amazing athlete. Right tackle, we have not Maris. We have Warren McClendon. At center, Erickson. Warren, no, at left guard, Warren Erickson's starting. That's right. And you got Cedric Van Pran at center, and then at right guard right now is kind of up in the air, until Tate Ratledge gets back. But one guy I'm curious about, and he almost transferred. He put his name in the portal, and Marius Mims. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's just one of those where Warren McClendon right now is going on his third year of starting for Georgia, or and he's going to end up going to the NFL, and he's going to whatever, and then Amaris Mims will take his spot. But a lot of people are curious about it. A lot of people are not questioning Kirby by any means, but a lot of people are wondering what is the deal because Amaris Mims was the number one tackle in the nation coming out of high school, and this will be his third year at Georgia, and he hasn't seen any playing time. So that means he got redshirted his first year. He'll be going into his redshirt sophomore year this year. But at the same time, if Warren McClendon, like I said, the right tackle leaves and Amaris takes that right tackle spot, he could play his junior, senior year there. Heck, with his size, he's like 6'7", 330. He could play there 1 year and go to the draft. But I could see him staying for his junior, senior year to build up, be able to be a high first round pick. Um, but it is not questionable, but I think it is, curious for us Georgia fans. Um, Away from that, they said there's been a few explosive plays from the offense. They say the first scrimmage, the defense did not play very well. And I get that. I completely get it. I think offense is always going to be ahead of the defense at first. But this past scrimmage, Jim Donnan, 4 or 5 media guys, different YouTubers that I've listened to that were there, and listening to Kirby, the defense stepped it up this last scrimmage. They said the way Kirby put it, the second half of the scrimmage, the team got better. What's up, Chris? The second half of the scrimmage, the energy of practice went through the roof. Um, and they said that the defense was tackling. There were hard hits on both sides. Everybody's yelling. But I think the thing we forget, guys, people can say, oh, well, Georgia, they lost a lot on defense. We have Nolan Smith back. Nolan Smith, who had he probably finished, like secured the bag for us in 3 separate games last year by himself. The dude is a monster. We know that. Robert Beal came in when Adam Anderson had his deal happen, and he was out. Robert Beal came in and played the last 5, 6 games for Georgia and led the team in sacks. So you've got both defensive ends for you right now. Crazy experience. It's good. Really, really good. Really talented. The D tackles, yes, we have Jalen Carter coming back. So you're looking at who's going to be the other guy. I'm not worried about the D line. I think D lines will be awesome. But I am not I'm not on this train that Georgia's very inexperienced at defense. I think Kirby's going to ride it as long as he can. But you've got 75% of your defensive line that are starters. They're back. Okay, you lost 2 D tackles. That's good. That's great. But Jalen Carter has already proven he's better than Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt. He's more athletic than both of them combined. Kelly Ringo, starting corner. He's back. Chris Smith, starting safety. He's back. Taki Smith, who was supposed to start at safety for Georgia last year. He's back. William Poole started at inside corner on nickel and dime packages. He's back. Like, yes, you have to fill a few of these other gaps in, and then you got reps that went out to certain players, but I don't know, dude. I get people are saying we're inexperienced, but just the experience we have coming back, just the guys that I have named, are better than 90% of the defense is in the SEC. Like, unless you're Alabama or even Alabama, bro, like, I feel our defense, even with all this inexperience, would compare. Uh, Kirby will not answer that. He does not answer that at all. Christopher, he always avoids the question. Carson Beck, I feel, is the backup just because I just feel he's the backup. But I think it goes into saying, Carson and then Brock Vandegrift. But I would love to see, and this is what I think will happen with the quarterback position. Stetson's going to be asked to do a lot more this year. A lot more. We know completely. Offense gonna have to step up. If Stetson cannot take that responsibility, Kirby, and I'll call it. This will be my hot take. You guys can say, "Well, yeah, I heard TB said this, man. Oh, he's crazy," or "Hey, I think this will happen." We know that a team is really hard to go undefeated 2 years in a row in the regular season. I feel Kirby, if Stetson struggles in a game, will stick with Stetson the entire game, and if he loses the game, I do see Kirby then letting like, especially if it's his fault, like not if it's a shootout and Stetson has 400 yards and we score 48 and lose 51-48. That's different. But I do think that Kirby, if it's Stetson's fault, will allow Stetson to go, like, will allow the ship to sink. Not the season, but that game. Because one loss Georgia still controls their own destiny. And I could see him going into the next week and going, all right, you know what? Look, quarterback competition, quarterback battle. Like, I don't know what I'm hearing outside. It's either a tornado, a hurricane, or a homeless man kicking a can down the street, bro. Rick Sanchez says if Peanut says UGA is going 9-3, then by God, UGA is going. I mean, Peanut did say that, but and like I said, guys, I'm just giving you my opinion on what I've heard from. I'm just giving you my opinion on what I've heard, what I've seen from the scrimmages. Um, Happy that the defense is finally stepping up, finally able to compete with the offense. But what I love hearing are these people asking the questions: how do these defensive backs stop the tight ends? And this has been the answer from every DB so far. When Eric Gilbert gets it, when Darnell Washington gets it, when Brock Bowers gets it, those guys cannot be taken down one on one. And so the goal is, and Chris Smith had said, the goal is for us is to swarm them. You have to the first person has to slow them down. Second and third person has to wrap up. We've got to be able to take them down. But I could really, really see, dude. Um, I will talk on that, Rick. But I can see though, being so prepared to swarm the football because of the tight ends, that's only going to make your defense better, just because you're every hat on the football type mentality. Rick says, I've heard they're super fast, but they're having a lot of fast miss. No, 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 no. Look, I completely agree. And you know what it made me think of when I started hearing that, Rick? You remember when Richard LeCount was in his freshman year, sophomore year, and Kirby would always say he's super fast to the ball. He's super fast. He makes really quick decisions. He gets there super fast, but it also means he's really out of position really fast. All I heard about Richard LeCount was he was sometimes in the wrong place here or there. That man had an amazing career at Georgia. And so all I'm saying is the way that Kirby seems to coach, he loves it when players play that fast, and that's the case. Having small mistakes because we're going so fast. And I guess being a trainer, being a coach, being around different football programs, being around yeah, he was. Being around high caliber programs, coaches have I've always heard this. I know I say this all the time. I would rather you go full speed and us have the mistakes now where we can work on okay, hey, this and that, then you go half speed. He for sure he was raw. for sure. But you go half speed and you do decent. You do really good half speed, and then we get in the game and you go full speed and you make the mistakes then. I'd much rather you go full speed, make all the mistakes now. That way we can get over the hump, get over the mistakes, get over all the little things come game time. Do I think Oregon is going to be a problem for us? They have athletes, they have talent. They're not some school that's like, oh, they're not in the SEC, so they're going to be smaller. They're going to be this. Dude, the guy that's at Miami right now recruiting like his life is on the line was just at Oregon. So all of Oregon did not transfer to Miami. They have recruits. They just had Kayvon Thibodeau, who went what fourth or fifth pick in the draft. Like they have the athletes, and Dan Lanning is going to try to have his team. Not going to try. He's going to have his team as prepared as he can. But I believe that Georgia defensively, if they can go out, two things will happen. If they can go out and shut down Oregon to 0 to 7 points, and we get up 38 to 0, 38 to 7, and then the second, third, and fourth string get to go in the end, and all of a sudden Oregon scores a touchdown or two, I'm not worried about the score. 38 to 21, it is what it is. But if we can go in and shut them down 38 to nothing, 38 to 7, will I be excited? Yes. Even if the third, fourth string go in and we give up a couple of touchdowns, well, no, it won't do anything to that. I would be just as excited. But we saw how Kirby played against Sam Pittman whenever he played against Sam Pittman for the first time. Sam Pittman was an amazing coach for Georgia. Georgia plays against Arkansas. We got up 38 to nothing, and we just cruise controlled the rest of the game. Like I don't even think we scored the rest of the game. I want to say it was like a quarter and a half left, and we just ran the ball, ran the ball, ran the ball, ended up punting, ran the ball. He is very respectful towards his previous coaches, and I have respect for Kirby for that. But will he change? Will he go into this year and go, look, I love you, Dan, but I know you're going to have your defense ready. So I'm going to test my offense and see if they can put up 50 on a Dan Letting led defense. Because we have to remember, Dan Letting was the defensive coordinator for one of the most historic defenses in Georgia history, in college football history. Now, yes, with some of that Kirby, yes, with some of that Will Muschamp, yes, with some of that Glenn Schumann, Trey Scott, all agreed. But Dan Lanning has been around success. Dan Lanning has been, yes, he has. Vic Tube says we were down 10 to 5 at halftime. What you talking about? Oh, I don't know what Vic talking about. 10 to 5 at halftime. Are you talking about this last time we played Arkansas, or are you talking about um, the first game? Was that Sam Pittman's first year at Arkansas? I'm trying to remember. I just remember Sam Pittman's first year at Arkansas. We ended up kind of taking it, not taking it easy on him, but just Kirby being who he was. It was his. Okay, let's see. What was the final score in that game, Vic? Dang, I'm lying, y'all. It was last year. Vic, that's what I'm thinking. I'm sorry. It was last year. We beat Arkansas 37 to nothing this past year. Not the first year that he was there. Which is wild because Arkansas did really, really good last year. And we played against them and just, I mean, dude, they couldn't do anything. But like I said, I think a Dan Lanning led defense is going to do its thing. I think they're going to ball out. But you already know, though, Dan Lanning is loving that he's playing Georgia's first game because that's such a huge test for his defense to see where they're at. You're going to get to go against an experienced team, the previous national champion, most recent national champion team. Um, Offensive linemen going to be great across the board. Running backs great across the board. I don't know if you guys saw my tight end video a while back or a few days ago, but there were 19 NFL scouts at the first spring practice for Georgia. Yeah, yeah, Rick, I remember. That's right, y'all. I'm sorry, I was talking about last year, but 19 NFL scouts. Half of them were there. A little more than half were there to see Darnell Washington, and the other ones were there to see Jalen Carter. And that was just the first day. I don't know anything about second day. I'm sure there were more or less Sure, there were some there every single day of spring. But guys, I'm just so happy that somebody like Darnell, who had 10 catches last year, this man had 10 catches over the course of 13, 14 games. He only had 10 catches, bro. And he still has NFL scouts looking at him. Why? What's up, traveling? But why? Why does Darnell have all these scouts coming to look at him? Because he is a specimen of a man who, in the NFL, tight ends are not out there catching, unless you're a Travis Kelsey, a George Kittle. They're tough to come by, those kind of players. But a lot of these tight ends are amazing blockers. And so if you're telling me that Darnell goes to the NFL, all he has to do is block the entire game until they get within 10, 15 yards of the end zone, and he's a red zone threat, Darnell could go in and have one touchdown a game in the NFL in a season where you play, however many games they play in a season in the NFL. Darnell could go in and have one touchdown a game just from being a red zone threat and be an amazing blocker and make millions for a long, long time. Yeah. Yeah, oh, agreed. I agree with all of you guys. Yeah. Arkansas was great. But and my point to that Huff Billy Paul was we saw Dan Lanning be the head of the defense last year for Georgia. Well, now Dan Lanning is the coach for Oregon. All of the recruits and the player, what's up, Jay Shipes? All of the recruits, all of the players at Oregon, they're not nobodies. You just had Cristobal who was there, who recruited out his tail. So they're going to be talented, but I'm happy because as a Georgia fan, we know the offense is going to have to step up. What better game to start out your season than playing against a Dan Lanning led defense, a Dan Lanning coach defense? Like that to me is what I'm excited about. Because if we go in and we win, let's say we only score 21 points, let's say it's a 21-7 game, to me, it's not going to be, oh man, our offense needs work. Bro, Dan Lanning is a goat at defense. But if we go in there and we drop 35 or 42, I'm going to be foaming at the mouth over our offense. What's up, Savage Dog? But yeah, I'm going to be foaming at the mouth over our offense if we go in there and put up 35 or 40 points on Oregon. Because I don't think Dan Lanning, if you're Dan Lanning and you just had a team win the national championship under your belt, you were the D coordinator, you go into Oregon, you're trying to get your defense ready for the season. You get to play against the former national champion. Like, your goal is to try to hold them under 21, 28 points. So that's what I'm saying. Oh, I agree. Yeah, Jay makes perfect point. Dan does realize that Stetson only looks at one side of the field before he takes off running to the other side. I agree completely. Like, he Dan might not be able to have this team ready to compete in their conference and win it this first year, but coaching does make up for lack of experience and scheme. Like that's all I'll say. Oh, and Rick makes a good point. Dan Lanning will need another offseason. Yes, agreed. Especially just for recruiting, bringing in the guy he wants to fit the scheme he wants to run. But game plan wise, scheming wise, knowledge, smarts, like, can you imagine how those practices are being ran at Oregon? Like, that's what I would love to see. I'd love to be a fly on the wall just watching Dan out there coaching the linebackers because Dan was the linebacker coach. He was the defense coordinator and linebacker coach. Well, Dan had three guys go in the draft this year. You had N'Kobe, Channing, and Quay, and it's like, that all I'm saying is he's got it under his belt. He's been able to work with guys who've been the beginning of their career, to the end of their career, and then going into the NFL multiple times. But Huff Billy Paul says, I feel bad for Oregon and it is thankless task to have such a hard game as Dan Lanning. Uh I do Huff Billy Paul, but I will say this. I don't think Dan Lanning would have it any other way. Like, I think in his eyes, Dan Lanning could go into the Georgia game and lose 45 to nothing or 45 to 7. Nobody would say anything about Oregon. Nobody would say anything about Dan Lanning. They'd just be like, man, that's tough. You had to play Georgia. We get it. First year. Like, bro, I get it. But if he goes in and they can score 14, maybe even 21, and 38, 35 to 21, that gives Oregon so much hype and motivation because all Dan needs is to have a good enough game for all those players to be like, bro, our coach is he nice. He just wants everybody to ball in to buy in, bro. Yeah. Agreed. Jay makes a perfect point. Kirby does this, especially to teams that he knows are not that great, or have that first year head coach. He plays the bully ball with a few deep balls sprinkled in. But Jay, I will say this. I will say this. I think Dan Lanning knows that, and I could see Dan Lanning going, "I'm not going to let you beat me that way, Kirby." Unless Dan's like, look, I just want to see how my team is, so I get you'll do that. I'm gonna try this a few, this blah blah blah. He may go and try and stuff, but I don't see Dan doing that. I see Dan being too much of a competitor. I could see that, bro. I could see Dan Lanning going in and going, look, they're gonna play bully ball. So when they get into that mindset, we're gonna run a 5-man front, or we're gonna run a four, we're gonna always blitz 5, 6 people. We're gonna make Stetson Bennett. I know, Savage. But it's like I want to see Dan Lanning make Stetson Bennett step up to the plate because as a Georgia fan, I want to know very early, can Stetson take over the helm now that we don't have the defense that can, you know. Now I'll take hold on. We don't have the defense we had last year, so Stetson's gonna have to step up. But I will say something, y'all. Y'all might think I'm crazy. I think Georgia will have more interceptions this year than they did last year. Two reasons why. One, last year, we let our front seven run the table because of how good they were. So there was a lot of pressure, a lot of tackles for a loss. This year, I could see teams trying to test our front seven more and end up getting in a bad spot. Last year, teams didn't try to test the front seven. Um, But I could see teams this year trying to test the front seven and end up getting into a 3rd and 6 or a 2nd and 8, you know, and then having to pass more. But two, yes, agreed, Huff Billy Paul. I will say this though, with us being inexperienced, I could see teams trying to throw it on us more, thinking, oh, well, they don't have so and so, they don't have this. Who was I'm guessing that was Stetson stats, 33 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Let me know if that's what you're talking about, Rick. Uh, but yeah, like I said, Jay. Oh, UGA was penalty free in one game last year. That impressed me. I wonder if Oregon will be that disciplined with the crowd noise in Atlanta. That's a good point, Jay. That's a very, very good point. And I get what you're saying. Will they be that way because of Dan Lanning? Oh, that's what I'm predicting. Bennett's 22. Um, I could see that. And Rick, I would not mind one bit, dude. Bro, that would not look. I don't care. Now I don't want Stetson throwing 30 interceptions, but I don't care if Stetson tries to, throw a few deep balls and they get intercepted. I want Stetson to be that guy that tries to make those throws because we saw Carson Beck in the spring game. Carson has a cannon and he does not mind it. What's up, Millis? He does not mind that one bit. Savage Dog says, I don't see Oregon scoring a touchdown. Now, I'm not saying they won't score a touchdown, Savage, but I could see Kirby getting up 35 to nothing or 28 to nothing, and in the fourth quarter going, look, the entire fourth quarter putting in the third and fourth string defense. Because and the reason why I say that is we had 4 5-star cornerbacks come in this year. Okay. Two of them are being looked at to take the place on the opposite side of Kelly Ringo. All right. Two true freshmen. You got to be good. William Poole is coming back. He's a redshirt senior, a redshirt junior. He's an inside corner on nickel packages and dimes. He's a really good cover guy. Okay. The other two cornerbacks are not terrible. But all I'm saying is I could see Kirby saying, look, I need those guys to get those reps. Linebacker core, Xavier Sorey, Mikael Sherman, Small Munden, Pop Johnson, Tresman Marshall. I know I'm forgetting somebody else, but that's 5 guys already. 5 guys who they've already talked about are going to be able to get playing time. I would love to see in the fourth quarter, dude, to be able to see those guys come in and play. Because if you're Kirby, I got to see who's going to step up. I got to see who's going to step up. All of you have made good plays in the summer, and that's good. All of you made good plays in the spring. Spring game, you all did good. But we got to remember Xavier and Sorey, and I want to say Mikael Sherman. They didn't play in the spring game. They were banged up a little bit, and Kirby just said, "Look, like you're not playing." Now, is that because Kirby's pulling a Kirby, not wanting to show his hand? I don't know. But from what Jim Donnan has said, Xavier Sorey is one of the fastest linebackers he has ever seen, ever, like ever. And in his life, Xavier Sorey is one of the fastest linebackers he's ever seen. And Jim Donnan also said that there was an SEC coach. He didn't want to say the name, but that he was talking to that was talking about Keely Ringo. And he said when he saw him in person, he thought Keely Ringo was an outside linebacker. Like he really did. He just said the way he looked, his size, and that's when Jim told him, like, no, that's our cornerback. That's Keely. And he was like, he would be an outside linebacker for us. So it just anyway, just thought you guys would like that story. Let's see what he says. Rick said I think he had 7 interceptions last year. I don't think a Dan Lanning coach team will be penalty. Oh, I agree, Huffer Billy, because you know who else? The Dan Lanning and Brett Venables to me are so similar, and I don't mean accolades. I'm definitely not saying that, Huffer Billy, but in the sense where they're both very disciplined coaches. They're exciting to play for because they want their defense to get after that tail. But they're also very disciplined. They don't get a lot of penalties, dude. They don't. And Venables and Dan Lanning both believe in depth. So I could see a lot of rotations coming from Dan Lanning. Rick says, I believe they will. 35-13 type score. No, I think they will. But like I said, when Kirby rotates in, I could see Oregon scoring on our third and fourth string. But I may be wrong. They may score in the first half. We may have a few hiccups because, like you said earlier, Rick, we're moving so fast that we're making mistakes here and there. I could see that. I could see that. Would I be mad? I would not be mad at all. I think Georgia fans are okay with saying we're not going to have the greatest defense in the world like we did last year. Now, will they be a top 5 defense? Like, uh, who just said? Somebody said they think we'll have a. What's up, fishing football? Savage Dog says we will still have a top 5 defense. No, that was the thing that if you guys saw the video with Uncle Lou and Kangaroo Black, that was his thing was people are questioning Georgia's defense, and he was like, we had Kirby for 8-10 years, whatever it was, 8-9 years. Every time we lost people, the defense came back and was just as good the next year. And then we'd lose people, they come back. So I know people are questioning Kirby completely. What's up, fishing? But I could see I could see completely Georgia's defense coming out and being good, but I also see them being good in a different way. I think the way college football is going now, you have a lot more spread, a lot more fastball teams like your Tennessee, even Bama. Bama has a fastball team where they like to score really quick, they like to spread the field. Kirby's linebacker, his recruits prove to me that he is adjusting to the team. He's adjusting to offense. He's adjusting to the game of football. That's why I said Mikael Sherman, Xavier Sorey, Small Munden, Pop Johnson. Those 4 guys, I know you got Tresman Marshall, but those 4 that I just named, they're really fast. They're really good in open field, and they're quick. So, and not saying N'Kobe wasn't, not saying Channing Tindall wasn't, not saying Quay Walker wasn't, but Quay Walker, y'all was 6'4", 245 as a linebacker. Um, we don't have a 6'4", 245 linebacker on the team anymore. So definitely going towards being able to defend the spread. Yeah, like I said, that's his phone about to die. Good deal, baby. Okay, on to the next. Um, our defense is hearing everyone say they're going to fall off. They will be jacked. Savage, I agree. And Kirby's using that to his point. Dang well he's hyping people up and talking about that. Like, he's using it as ammo. Rick says that PSU Purdue, Penn State Purdue is more interesting to me. I'm torn on this one. Wait, Penn State versus Purdue for the first game? That's the in week 1? No way, dude. No way. That's crazy, dude. Okay. I'll say this. if Purdue's quarterback goes in and lights it up and beats Penn State, man, I don't know. I know Penn State fans will be calling for uh what's his name to be fired. Not fired, but they'll be. You'll hear the buzz. You'll definitely hear the buzz. But yeah, I just like I said, I was just coming on to really talk about the second scrimmage, just kind of talk about the updates of Georgia and what I'm hearing around the program. And so far, everybody's hyped up about the defense with how fast they look. Um, I'm not worried about the players that we had leaving because we got both defensive ends back. You got Jalen Carter, who, like I said, um, oh, Jalen Carter was second on the team last year, second on the defense with all the great players we had, behind N'Kobe Dean at tackles made per play that he was in. N'Kobe Dean, out of 100% of the times that he was in, like in the on the field, he made the tackle like 11.8 or 11.9% of the time, which is stupid. That's crazy. Jalen Carter came in at like 11.2. Like that's tough, bro. That's a D tackle. That's not a linebacker who is out there to get a lot of tackles. That just shows you that Jalen Carter is a beast, bro. Jalen Carter is a 320-pound man who can do a windmill dunk. Like the dude he's crazy athletic. Uh September 1st, 8 p.m. Woo! Rick, that's crazy, boy. Yeah, Nature Boy says Carter equals a freak. Yeah, he is. No, he is. Franklin has to produce this year. He goes on the hot seat, fishing sorry. Well, like I said, if Penn State goes in and they lose to Purdue, Penn State fans ain't gonna be happy. I mean, bro, Penn State has recruited very, very well over the last couple of years, and it's like, at what point, at what point do you say, okay, guys, it's time to go in a different direction, especially if Lincoln Riley, Venables, and Dan Lanning, or even Cristobal at Miami, if those four teams have decent years this year, with first, their coach being there for the first time, first year, bro. And Penn State's over here like, well, I mean, we got good players, but like, bro, they're gonna do something about it. They're not, yeah. Oh yeah, same thing with Jimbo. But Huff Billy Paul, Jimbo has way more of a leniency. Two things, because one, that class that they got, everybody's gonna expect it to be in year, in 2 3 years for it to be a super super talented class. But then another, because they signed them to like 10 years, 70 million. So I see them. I just see them buying in a little more. You know, I don't know, and I think that win over Alabama really helped him out too. Penn State, bro. I mean, you can't beat Purdue, bro. Then something not with all the talent, all the recruits you got, something on. But I'm one thing I'm hearing too, guys, is there's a lot of NFL scouts who are really high on Kenny McIntosh for us. I think, yeah, it did. It did help. It did help him. Kenny McIntosh for us. I love him. I think he's a all around back. Kendall Milton to me, I feel is more talented. I love Kendall Milton. He's a strong back. Just so, like I said, really, really good back. Uh, but the reason why scouts are so high on on Kenny McIntosh is, I'm not saying I'm dogging Kenny McIntosh because he didn't get a whole lot of reps last year. He did, but he didn't. He had, I think he was like third or fourth on the team with reception yards and receptions. NFL is going towards that kind of play style where the running backs out of the backfield that can catch are starting to play a lot more. Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, those kind of backs that can do all of it, that's why they're the, premier backs. They're the dominant backs. Like, they get paid a lot because they can do it all. But even if you're Derrick Henry and you don't catch a lot out of the backfield, you just run people over, you still get paid a lot. I'm just saying. Um, yeah, Rick, he said he's definitely healing up from it. He said he should be good to go by the first game, but knowing Kirby, he might not be good to go, and he just saying that. Uh, Let's see what we got. Penn State will be at Auburn again this year. Really? That's gonna be a good game, dude. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. There may be some games that I'm streaming. I may stream. I may stream a few games, guys. I'm I don't know, dude. There's a lot of good games this year, and I don't mean good as in like top five matchups. I mean games like Penn State versus Auburn, Penn State versus Purdue. I'm not saying I'm streaming those games, but that right there, if Penn State loses to Purdue and Auburn, they're gonna be calling for James Franklin. Auburn being where their program is now, and Purdue, oh, they may have a good quarterback, bro. So what? You're Penn State. You're like top five, top 10 classes every year. Like, stop. Oh, Fishman says, yeah, Penn State's offense has to get better. Offense has to get better, and defense has to be able to play 4 quarters. Defense way too inconsistent at Penn State now, especially with all the recruits. And who did we say this about? Um, Dang it, there was another team we had brought up a few days ago or a few weeks ago about that having a team that's a really good defensive team, but they just don't play all 4 quarters. So, uh, Penn State needs to beat Ohio State at some point. Otherwise, they'll never compete for a natty. And Hufflepuff Paul, Ohio State has the talent to beat Ohio. I mean, Penn State has the talent to beat Ohio State. And the reason I'm saying that is, I think Penn State is just as talented as Michigan. Talented as Michigan. If Michigan can beat Ohio State, why can't Penn State? And that's where, like you said, a lot of it's starting to point back to Franklin. But I will say this because I wanted to talk about Clemson on this point. Dabo needed to get rid of Tony Elliott a while back. Now, Vic says Penn State beat Ohio State in 2016. Was James Franklin the coach at Penn State when they beat them? He might have been. I'm just wondering. Um, but I'm wondering, is it James Franklin or is it Franklin was and Urban was there? Was added by subtracted. Oh, agreed, Huffer Billy. He said we added by subtraction when when Tony Elliott left. Well, and that's my point, Huffer Billy. Dabo needed to make that trigger. He needed to pull that trigger a little earlier because we saw that the offense was not predicated around DJ. It was more like the offense has been in the past instead of hey, we got this. Let's deal with this now. Let's play it this way. Um, Franklin has been at Penn State since 2014. Got you. Uh, got you. Who does Penn State hire if they boot Franklin? Guys, I'm gonna have to go in about 9 minutes. I have to go meet at the school. You know, the job I got to get my key card and do a few things, and so then I'll be official like a referee, my boys. Who does Franklin? Who does they hire if they boot Franklin? Well, Nature Boy, I I know you don't boot you didn't need to boot James Franklin after this year. I'm not saying that, but Lincoln Riley. Not saying I'm like, oh, you should have got him. Lincoln Riley, Dan Lanning, Brent Venables, and Cristobal, which I don't think Cristobal would have went there because he actually is from Miami. Um, but you missed out on some coaches this year. Not you, but Penn State missed out on some coaches this year because those guys have a lot of stature to their name. Whether it's Franklin ain't going on the hot seat. You don't fire Franklin in haste, but you start preparing. Well, if Franklin loses to Purdue and Auburn, and you don't, and they don't put him on the hot seat, then Penn State ain't trying to be great. That's all I'll say. They may not fire him, they may not put him on the hot seat, but if Penn State loses 5 games this year, if they don't put him on the hot seat for losing 5 games this year, Penn State don't want to be good. They're okay with being average. They're okay with having one of the best fan crowds in the history of college football, playing Zombie Nation and jumping up and down, doing the white out. Like they're okay with it. Oh yeah, fishing, perfect. Dave Aranda only if you could pull him. That would be the go-to, Nature Boy. That would be it. If you fired James Franklin, if you could get Dave Aranda, and the reason why I say that, and Fisherman, that's a good point. Dave Aranda is one of the few coaches outside of the SEC that plays SEC football. Baylor, great defense last year. Offense, pro style, stayed on the field, nothing too crazy. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. We're just gonna beat you. We're gonna out physical you. We're gonna out defense you, out offense you. Penn State needs that. Like the last couple of games that I've seen of Penn State's over the years, over the last 2 years, dude. I don't know. Penn State was spoiled with Saquon Barkley because they could just give it to him 20, 25 times a game and he just, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the struggle is James Franklin has to get back to playing like whenever he was at Vanderbilt. He's got to get back to playing. I don't have any main stars. I can't rely on just one player. I've got to be able to move the ball around. So Penn State got the number one running back recruit coming in this year. Well, I'll say this, Fishing. There's a number one running back recruit every year, but not many of them like Saquon Barkley. You know what I'm saying? But he may be good. He may go in and dominate, but just saying, dude. Penn State not firing Franklin. His buyout is insane. After the contract he just signed. That's what's crazy, Rick. That's what just shows me though, like they don't care to be. They're not trying to be great. Yeah, no, I agree, Billy. Looks like Franklin is averaging 8-4 season. He's got a 67-34 record. 67-34 over 8 seasons. Bro, that's a if that's a vanilla ice cream record if you've ever seen one. Averaging 8-4 at Penn State, bro. Can we let's do this. I know I said I had to go, but we about to look up Penn State's record last year. I promise you, if I mean the schedule. If I see a stupid loss on here, bro, I'm about to dog. Penn State about to get it, bro. How would you sign him for that long if you want to be a contender? Yeah, I agree. What did he do to? Let's see. I want to see who he lost to. Boy, no, he did not. Penn State last year lost 30-23 to Nebraska. You telling me Nebraska went 3-9 and one of their wins was over Penn State, bro? Bro, bro. Penn State lost 35-19 to Maryland. That's crazy. Uh, it says right here. Wait, I don't know. I may be in the wrong year, but it says they beat Illinois 56-21. Vic two. Boy, that. Oh, I'm looking at the year before. Got you. Still though, you telling me that man lost to God, dog? My boy struggling. Let's see. All right, here we go. Let's see what let's see what we got. Let's okay, you lost to Iowa. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Like you said, y'all you saw said he went into overtime last year. Illinois, you lost to Illinois. You lost to Michigan. Then you lost to Michigan State. And then you lost to Arkansas in a bowl game. God, dog. And and I get it. Huffman Paul says Iowa was good, but can we not agree, guys? At at what point? What I mean, bro, you're turning into Notre Dame. Like, are you ever gonna win a big game? You beat Wisconsin 16-10. You beat Auburn last year when they were terrible, 28-20. Bro, Iowa beat you 23-20. Illinois, the Fighting Illini, 20-18. Michigan beat you 21-17. Ohio State beat you 33-24. You beat Rutgers though, 28-0. That was a really good win over a very strong Rutgers. I'm lying. Michigan State beat you 30-27. And then it just seems like, a few of these games, dude, 9 points, 3 points, 4 points, and that's over really good teams that they're losing to by that much. They're just not closing out games, and it may just be that Franklin is. I don't know. I feel bad. All right, look, we'll go over their schedule for this year. We'll just kind of average like 24 points a game. Stop, bro. Wait, 9 overtimes, bro. Stop. Really? Did they really do that, bro? All right, let's see. Penn State schedule. All right. We'll do this, guys, and then we'll dip. Okay. All right, here we go. Like y'all said, they're playing Purdue first game. I swear, bro, if he loses to Purdue, I will write a letter. I will write a letter to the University of Penn State. Dear Penn State, I'm an unbiased fan. I'm a Georgia fan. I have no fight, no dog in the fight. But if you guys ever want to be good, ever, please fire James Meredith Franklin. No, that's not his middle name, but I don't know. I'm just saying they play Purdue first game. Second game, they play Ohio. They play Auburn the third game. Then Central Michigan, Northwestern. Bro, what? Their first 5 games, they should be 5-0. And they play Michigan, Minnesota, then Ohio State. That'll be a good game. Then they play Indiana, Maryland, Rutgers, and Michigan State. I don't know, bro. I just feel bad for him, bro. To be honest, I definitely feel bad for him. But it is what it is. We'll see. Auburn plays Mercer and then San Jose State for their first 2 games before they play Penn State. Should give them time to kind of get in their role. Um, God, dog. Auburn plays Penn State, Missouri, LSU, Auburn, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, and then Alabama at the last game. That's good. That's crazy. All right, people, look, y'all be safe. All right, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all coming to hang out. Y'all have a good day. I just wanted to come on talk about the scrimmage. Glad we got to talk a little bit more. But your boy got to go get the keys to the gym where I can start practicing and doing some training, start making some money, start practicing with my team. I'll tell y'all more about that later, okay? For sure. I'll either do a video or I'll talk about it on the game stream tonight. But yeah, check it out tonight, guys. Your boy TB gonna be playing the scariest game ever created, and I didn't say that. It's on the internet. It says it is. It's one of the. It's literally a psychological experiment to test the mind under stress, and it's been tripping me out, bro. I'll say that. It's been tripping me the heck out. So check it out tonight. It might give you nightmares. So if you don't like scary stuff, don't check it out. But it'll be later, probably about 9, 10, maybe 10, 15. So yeah, y'all do your thing. Hope you have a good day. Your boy TB, about to go be official. So peace.